We're going to make a second pass over the carving, starting at this end, working to the right, using tools that are more like 1/4 of an inch and less, as we get into slightly more subtle modelling surfaces. On the background here, we can start taking little cuts like this, making it so that this edge is fairly random, not very uniform. So as we clean up the edge, we will, the soil here, we'll actually finish it off with tools as we go along. Now for the foot, what I need to do is create this edge of this paw here, like so. There's a narrow gouge, and that goes under the rabbit there like that. And then something slightly steeper, come round here and stab in here. So this now makes, I hope you can see that coming, the back paw. So we've got up and in like this, up and in. So that will be, so that the rabbit goes in here to the edge of the rabbit, the edge of the soil. And then the back, we have it along here. We're going to use that flat one again on this part. So there's the back paw. And then wrap this around the heel of that paw. So there's the back heel coming right over like that. And it sort of scoops around up like this. So we're going to have to move this tail back a little bit. That back. So once we've got a hard edge here, we want to sort of keep a little bit soft. Might make that a little bit flatter, that one, if I can find my flat gouge. So now setting the edge of the tail. And we can now with the rabbit surface, I'm going to do something about the hair. But for the moment I want this fairly fine, so this is less textured than here. I didn't like that shape, so I'm now, as I come around here, thinking about the outline of the rabbit. And so instead of that hard point, I'm now adjusting it so that I've got a bit of a softer edge. Here's this leg coming up here. Front leg, and this is coming down around here. So that's the groove going into there. A little bit of a shadow in here. And then the toes of these, I think I'm going to do by just setting them in like so. So they'll be cut this way quite strongly, and then a sharp one this way. So that's more of a stab in this direction. Bring the toe in like that. So we've got a plane going across. The change of plane here is quite important. This makes the rabbit feel quite rounded. So don't just round it over like your chamfering, but from this whole leg, this back comes down over here. So do a little bit of that here. And I've got my toes here. There's a bit of shadow in there. That's an important point. You want to get a little bit of shadow in there as well as between the toes. There's a little bit of depth here, shadow in there, and now we can turn to the front part again using these 1/4 inch tools. I'm going to sort of start wrapping this body around here under the chin. You can see that as the bottom of the body goes back here, then naturally that foot has to go further back and down. So I've got my front foot here, which is, if we can start getting, there's the front toe there of this foot, and it comes up and over there. Of course, all the toes, which I'll do in the same sort of way. The top of this foot is angled back like this into the body, and then the body itself will come round here, come over there, and of course we have to get, or think about putting this toe back in, which is now it just needs to be a small thing, just to give it a bit of depth, I think. So the toe will be somewhere there. So I'll just again leave a bit of wood there. I think if the toe disappears, I'm not too sure it's not cluttering it up a little bit. I don't think that's a big problem. But let me just see if we can catch it. Right to the back here. Of course, I want to texture all this in the same sort of way, so I might need to pick a smaller tool to get in there. And these textures at the back can be a little bit light, narrower rather, because they're further away. But I'll just take that back here. I'm going to take the paper off here because it's a little bit confusing. And you can see how flat this is going to be, but it will go under this ear. This is rounded over. I'll make this a sharpish edge, so it's quite clear what's going on. Shadow in here, another bit of shadow. So this area is going to be quite flat. Not much we can do about that until we start putting fur in, but I will make this a little bit softer around here. I've finished off the feet here at the front, the paws, and I've come back up into here. I've also gone behind this ear and merged this head here at the front with that body back behind this ear, and then here is the far ear, and I've pushed that back. So what I want to do now is I want to make a bigger eye here, because it's a rather cute rabbit for a cute little girl's bedroom. So it's going to be, that's a bigger eye, so I'll make sure I've marked that. I'm going to make it a bit sticky out by going round like this. So the eyes are protruding a little bit. So I'm going to deal with that later. The eyes are detail. I'm also, I've come round here a little bit so that this will eventually be undercut here. So the nose is away from the background, you see. So we've got to put the nostrils in here. So now I think I'm going to set in this ear here. Where are we? So I'm going to run this along this edge, like this. And I'm going to give me a sharp edge over here, round there, like that. And on this top edge, here comes along here like so, goes a little bit like that, and then probably need a flatter gouge. Yes, wood's a little bit crumbly, I've got to say, but we're getting there. So there's the edge of this ear here. Now it has got on the inside a fold in the ear, so this here will be the top edge of the ear, which I'm going to leave proud, and then I'm going to sink this bit of the ear, follow it out up to that edge. Then it's going to come round into the cheek. Paper comes off. Again, fairly flat at this point because it's quite high up, so I just skim this paper off. And as the paper comes away, I think it's beginning to look more and more like a rabbit, which is a good thing. There's the top of this. So this will be a little bit rounded here eventually. Maybe a sort of little crease in here. And just in that bit, this is the right tool. I just want to make a little curve in there where the ear joins the head. Quite a hard little plane there, I think. And take that away. I'm going to run a V-tool behind that there, clean that edge up, slightly undercut it, just very slightly. A little shadow behind that ear. And on this side here. Okay, well I think that's, I might as well take this paper off, but I think this is a fairly good second pass. We've got the legs, we've got the feet, we've got the eye to put in, we've got the nostrils to put in. But otherwise, getting rid of the paper like that gives us a good sense of where we are.